you talk about how when you grow up in this situation, you often don't have, people would assume, well, a young Sir Patrick Stewart would have big dreams. You didn't initially. You thought, oh, I guess I'll be a lorry driver, a truck driver.
Yep.
Because you think, you look at your world and you think this is what's possible.
Yep.
And then what changed? What came along that made you think the theater? Because the theater is really your passion in life. You've had obviously so much success, television and film, but it's really the theater has been the dynamo in your life.
What happened was a man called Cecil Dormond. He was my English teacher in my secondary modern school, because I was totally not academic. In fact, you at the age of 11, you could go to grammar school, which meant that you had an academic potential, or you went to what was known as secondary modern school. And on the day of the exam, I was just half a mile away from the school where the exam was being held. Just before you got there, there was a T-junction. And turn right, and 200 yards away was the school. Turn left, and you go down the hill into the valley where Murfield was built around the River Calder, and the railway lines, and the canal, because we had canal barges. And then once you'd crossed them, you would climb up at the beginning of the dales on the other side, and you could look down onto the town from up there. And that's where I went. I turned left and not right. Actually, I've been turning left all my life.
Yeah.
Which is both funny and not. But so I didn't take the exam. And so I was never tested. But I went into secondary modern school, and in my second year, the English master, Cecil Dormond, I did something, read something in a class, and I saw him pay attention. And he was the first person to put a copy of Shakespeare into my hand. I never held a copy of Shakespeare in my hand. And it was just a surprise one day in the English class. And he was handing out these books, slim little books, and said, all right, this is Act 4, Scene 1. And, okay, you're playing Portia, you're playing Bassanio, you're playing Orlando, and Patrick, finally, you're Shylock.
Wow.
And we read this scene, and my character didn't speak for half a page or so. And then he had a speech of about 40 lines, which is one of the most famous speeches in Shakespeare. And I had no idea what I was saying. I was trying to say the words, though most of them I didn't understand. And yet, something happened. I made a connection. I loved pronouncing these words. I was never, I'd never spoken a language like that out loud. I mean, I hadn't even spoken English when I was a child. I spoke not just with an accent, I spoke dialect.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want an instance?
Yeah, I do.
This is my favorite. If I go to a neighbor's house to ask if the lad my age is coming out, for kick a ball around and everything, when he came to the door, I would say to him, "At a lake and out."
What? What?
At a lake and out.
At a lake and out.
Atta art thou, because when I was growing up, we said thee and thou. Not because we were religious at all, but it was just the way, working class West Riding people spoke.
Yeah.
Atta art thou, lakin. Now, this is the amazing thing. In Shakespeare's day, actors were also known as lakers. And the word I was using was playing. Lakers stood in for playing. Atta, are you, lakin, playing, at, out.
Oh my.
That's a lakin out.
And it's funny, and you didn't know the derivation of any of this. You just know that's what it is. You just are saying, you don't know what any of this is coming from.
No, nothing at all. But the moment came when a second teacher who was my book is dedicated to these two people, Cecil Dormand and Ruth Wynne Owen, who was a retired professional actress, now living with her husband in Yorkshire and teaching. And she said to me one day, you know, Patrick, if you really are enthusiastic about performing, you've got to lose that accent. And so I started the next day, right away. And for several years, I spoke with one accent at weekends when I was going to my drama classes, and one accent Monday to Friday when I was in school. Because if I talked like that in the classroom, whack! I would have got thumped, you know.
No, the other kids don't take kindly to that. Gentlemen and kind women.
Who the fuck does the think thou art? Sorry. No.
I believe it's time for my jelly and peanut butter.